I sure know where I've been, hanging on the promises and songs of yesterday. And I've made up my mind, I ain't wasting no more time. Here I go again, here I go again. Though I keep searching for an answer, never seem to find what I'm looking for. Lord, I pray you give me strength to carry on, 'cause I know what it means to walk along the lonely street of dreams. Here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter I was born to walk alone, and I've made up my mind, I ain't wasting no more time. I'm just another heart in need of rescue, waiting on love's sweet charity. And I'm gonna hold on for the rest of my days, 'cause I know what it means to walk along the lonely street of dreams. And here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter I was born to walk alone, and I've made up my mind, I ain't wasting no more time. But here I go again, here I go again, here I go again, here I go. Cause I know what it means to walk along the lonely street of dreams. And here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter I was born to walk alone, and I've made up my mind, I ain't wasting no more time. And here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter I was born to walk alone, 'cause I know what it means to walk along the lonely street of dreams. And here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known.
Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way. Don't ask for all your things back, cussing out my name, yeah, just to go and take back what you say. Burn all the bridges, don't ask forgiveness, walk away like I'm someone you hate. Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way.
If it's it's over, so fuck it. Just don't act like my love wasn't nothing. Like I wasn't the one you was holding that night, telling all of your secrets and hugging. Guess you right, it's too good to be true. Was a point, all I needed was you. But shit, time after time, I just fussing and fighting. It's time that you do what you do. And it's cool. Mama said it was fish in the sea, I got lost in the pool. Knew it was coming, I watched how you move. How you turn your back on me and leave me to lose. Remember the text, how you said that you do. Said that you'll never leave, we would fight till it's due. But as it went on, I was fighting for you. Since the text turned green, why the fuck it ain't blue? Guess you done and I get it. Said you staying, you wanted my name and you left, so I'm guessing that you never meant it. Said you try and hold on cause the love was so strong, now I'm standing alone in this kitchen. Singing sad songs, but I'm knowing that this shit don't last long. If you leaving, then leave cause your bag's gone. But just know you can never come back home.
Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way. Don't ask for all your things back, cussing out my name, yeah, just to go and take back what you say. Burn all the bridges, don't ask forgiveness. Walk away like I'm someone you hate. Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way.
If you say that you done it, no take back. Said you fell out of love and I hate that. But see me, I was stuck like a drug, really feeling for love, and somehow I can't shake back. When you walked out that door, I was hurting. All the dreams in my head, you was perfect. You remember the very first time that we chilled and I reached for your hand where the nerves at. Time to pass, but shit, that's what it do. It be times I be sick sitting thinking about you. It was death do us part. You gave me the blue, really played with my heart. Left me lost and confused, like this shit was fair game. But you made it the rules. On my heart, left a scar and a bruise. Hope that you can stand on all the shit that you did. I'm done, yeah, I'm finally through.
Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way. Don't ask for all your things back, cussing out my name, yeah, just to go and take back what you say. Burn all the bridges, don't ask forgiveness. Walk away like I'm someone you hate. Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just stuck? I went to a shrink to analyze my dreams. She says it's like a sex that's bringing me down. I went to a whore. He said my life's a bore. So quit my white cause it's bringing her down. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Grasping to control, so I better hold on. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Like a son?
Because oftentimes schools want to go to the, you know, the 5 or 6 year, 7 year, 8 year, 9 year, 10 year, 12 year, 13 year, 14 year, 15 year, 16 year, 17 year, 18 year, 19 year, 20 year, 21 year, 22 year, 23 year, 24 year, 25 year, 26 year, 27 year, 28 year, 29 year, 30 year, 31 year, 32 year, 33 year, 34 year, 35 year, 36 year, 37 year, 38 year, 39 year, 40 year, 41 year, 42 year, 43 year, 44 year, 45 year, 46 year, 47 year, 48 year, 49 year, 50 year, 51 year, 52 year, 53 year, 54 year, 55 year, 56 year, 57 year, 58 year, 59 year, 60 year, 61 year, 62 year, 63 year, 64 year, 65 year,
shiny, flashy things, right? They want to go to the pretty stuff and they want to go to the stuff that makes the big splash, right? And most of the time that's X, Y, and Z, and you don't even have A, B, and C, right? The reality of it is,
Preach, brother. What's
yeah,
the drones and the fucking robots and
dude, the
everything?
drones, man. What are you doing? Here's the deal. I understand that the lipstick, the shiny stuff, is what helps with the parents, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
what
sexy.
helps with
Yeah.
the school boards,
Yeah.
right? And if you want to do that, that's fine. But you best be on the back end doing the real work. I shouldn't be able to walk through your campus for any amount of time and not get approached, right? And your staff should feel empowered to do that, right? It's that culture piece. It's
And
learning.
how much does culture cost, Ron? Tell me the dollar amount.
Not a dime, brother.
Yeah,
That's free.
that's what I'm
You know,
talking
that's
about.
the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many times you get on a plane and during the safety demonstration, people are sitting there on their phones, they're reading their books, they're playing on their laptops, they're not paying attention to safety. I don't care how many times you get on a plane, pay attention to safety demonstration. Read that stupid little card that's in the back of the window. You know what I do? I always look and see who's in the exit row so I know who I can throw out of the way so I can open the damn door. Because that's what's going to happen, right? Because they're not
Yeah.
paying attention.
Who the hell is still doing fire drills, Ron? Like, we're in 2025, brother. Like, are buildings burning down still? I mean, I know.
No,
I know
here's the deal. Let's be real. Let's talk about that a minute, right? Because law is that you have to do a fire drill once a month, every single month.
but
have
you
to
can't
do
do
a
an
fire
active shooter drill. Is that?
drill. Yeah,
is
most
that-
places got it once or twice a year. You need an active shooter drill, about once or twice a year.
Well, I tell you what, I'm fired up after watching that intro video. And I'm fired up about our next guest today because he's a good time friend of mine. I've known him since his days at the Houston Astros. But before I announce this fine young gentleman, I want to welcome you to another interview of SVIP Live. My name is Taylor May, the founder of Security VIP, SVIP for short. We are live multicasting across LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. This is our weekly interview series, guys, with end users in the security industry. So that's the cool thing about this interview series is we highlight proactive key stakeholders, end users that work across an array of different vertical markets. And this week's special guest is the man himself, Mr. Ben Williams, the director of security at Houston Force Corporation. Ben, my friend, welcome to SVIP Live.
Well, thank you for having me. This is a long time coming, right?
It is a long time coming, man. And it's you see our backgrounds, ladies and gentlemen. Ben is actually on the road, just like I am on the road. We're in our lovely hotel rooms doing this live stream. Normally, I'd be at the house with the jerseys behind me, man. But you get the lovely shot of my bed behind me. And Ben, you're just made it to Chicago, my friend. So you're in a hotel yourself.
We are. So we are in separate hotels, to make that clear.
Yeah, let's make that this there.
different parts of the country. So yeah, I had a very wonderful flight experience today on my way from Houston to Chicago. Barely made my flight. The airport was just, the airport was a little messy this morning, but here I am, alive and well in Chicago.
That's the key words right there, alive and well, my friend. Before we get this kicked off, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors today, Wavelinks. There's a QR code showed on the screen if you guys want to get more information about Wavelinks. They make some incredible access control readers and credentials, really cool things what they're doing around the access control space. So you guys can scan that QR code. So thank you, Wavelinks, for sponsoring this interview. And if you're not subscribed to SVIP, what the hell you're not doing? There's a QR code on top here, just above my over here, right? Yeah, right here. You hit this QR code, you can subscribe and become a subscriber of SVIP. Every single dollar helps the business grow and scale. But Ben, for our viewers, man, we are live across multiple platforms. Hopefully your wife is listening in. I know my wife tends to listen in every now and then. She might drop a question, by the way. But Ben, for our viewers today, man, give us some context about who you are, what you're about, and your role at Houston First.
Sure. I'm the director of security for Houston First. I've been there for a little over 3 years. It is one of the places voted best to work at in Houston. We hold tons of events from cheerleading to robotics to car shows, everything. And then prior to that, I was with the Houston Astros for 8 years as their director of security, where we hosted World Series and Jewel events for MLB. I've probably seen as many baseball games as I ever want to see in my entire life. Kidding aside, but no, it was a wonderful experience. Been very blessed. And then before that, that was actually my way into Texas. Originally from California. I tell my Texas friends don't hold that against me, but I came here before it was cool and fashionable to leave California for Texas back in 2014. So prior to that, I was in the cargo industry, running warehouses.
So I mean that's where we first met, Ben, was when you with the Astros. And can we agree? We talked about this the other day. Like the new name for the Astros ballpark is absolutely fucking horrible. Dakin Park or Dawkin Park. How the hell you say it, man? I still call it Minute Maid. You know what's wrong with Minute Maid? I guess Minute Maid didn't want to pay the bill this year.
You know, we all have those. You know, it will always be Minute Maid to me in my heart. That's what it was when I was there. You know, the big oranges and the lighting on the field is what made me call it home for so long. So
yeah.
No matter how many name changes it goes through, it's going to be the same building, but you know, it's always going to be Minute Maid to me.
Yeah, do better next year, Minute Maid. Why don't you pay the bill? You call it Minute Maid. But Ben, you spent so long with the Astros. Obviously, Roy's taking over there at Minute Maid. Roy's a good guy himself, but you've done some cool things with the Astros. Now you're doing some cool things at Houston First. I guess talk with me about that transition from going from professional sports landscape to obviously you're still managing massive amounts of people at Houston First, and obviously multiple buildings versus just one. I mean, primarily at the Astros, you had the ballpark, and I'm sure some other facilities, but at Houston First, you're managing what, 10 plus complexes or buildings?
Yeah, so we have the convention center downtown. We have some theaters in the theater district, a couple open parks, multiple garages. Yeah, it's a pretty large footprint. I mean, Houston First is responsible for the tourism for the city, and you know, we as an organization, you know, that's a very serious commitment, and you know, guests coming to Houston for the first time, you want to show them that, you know, good Southern hospitality, and you know, make them want to come back.
Right. And I guess the challenges, and we talk about challenges from multiple verticals. I speak with casinos and retailers and hospitals. I mean, challenges are challenges regardless of what verticals you're in. But anything that's similar, maybe different from managing, obviously, Minute Maid Park with the Astros to obviously what you're doing now?
Sure, you're going from an environment where somebody has to pay a ticket to get into an event there, opposed to an environment where if you feel like having lunch at one of the restaurants at the convention center, you just walk in. And the convention center's you know, mainly public building on the front side, so you have people who might not be guests for an event walking through. So it's really, and be connected to a couple hotels as well. So it's really on that line of, you know, how much enforcement you do versus not do, how much of a presence for security you have versus making it look like it's a prison, you know?
Right.
And again, it's that warm Southern hospitality. So that is a new challenge for me in my career, as to where I have less control over who comes in, opposed to where the ballpark is. You know, you have a ticketed guest coming in, you know who they are, they bought the ticket, etc., and then you can shut your doors.
Well, that was, I was alluding to that. You're more open now, right? Managing these complexes because it's open to the public versus, to your point, obviously going to a ball game, you got to pay for a ticket. And that was the point that the intro video, that was Ron Self, who's very well known for school safety and security, talks about obviously open campuses with K through 12 and higher ed, and how do you protect that, because you're so open. It's really anyone can step on foot of the campus. But he talks about culture a lot. We talked about culture a lot on our discussion, but you mentioned Southern hospitality, and obviously here in the great state of Texas, we need that Southern hospitality to make sure people feel welcome and inviting. Because we're not going to beat around the bush here, Ben. You know, like you look at Houston as a city, you look at Chicago as a city where you are right now, high crime cities, man. There's crime that happens commonly in those two major cities. Obviously LA too. We talk about some other areas around the country, but how are you building that Southern hospitality? Walk me through like the guest experience, or maybe the employee experience when it comes to retention.
Well, you can have a strong security presence, but still have that hospitality, that warmth. So, and as Ron's video alluded to, is culture. I mean, it's how you train your people to interact with other people, and then giving them the tools to do their job successfully. Get out of their way. Once they have the tools, let them do the job. And when I was talking in the intro video, I was chuckling a little bit because I was having an internal debate in my mind. I have kids that go to school as well, so whenever I go to school, I'm always looking for, okay, that looks like that might be propped. Okay, what's that? What's this?
You're critiquing. You're critiquing.
You can't stop doing it. That's the thing. You just once you're a security professional, it's hard to get that out of your mindset because you're always looking for that situational awareness. So some things that we tell our third-party contractor security officers is like, look, your head needs to be on a swivel. Know your situational awareness, and then what tools can we provide as an organization for them to be successful? Whether that be a very robust camera system, analytic tools, things like that. Giving them the tools that aren't the things that go, oh wow, this is so amazing, this is flashy, but wow, this really supports my mission for doing this or doing that.
No, you heard Ron's point about the flashy toys. We talked about obviously the robotics and the drones and the AI stuff, which is cool, right? But he talks about the basics a lot. He talks about ABC a lot. And one of the cool things with the must-haves essentially in education landscape is obviously just locks on doors, man. Having basic locks on doors is a basic thing you should have in a school environment, especially in today's landscape. And I shit you not, Ben, I still see analog cameras being used across all these buildings. Like, why haven't you evolved to IP now? Like, IP now has been around for years. Why are we still running analog? And maybe it's because people are still stuck in the dinosaur age, man. And people don't like when I call them dinosaurs, but we do have that mentality in certain verticals of the market that are still stuck in that mindset, you know?
Well, I think we can agree that that there's when you're talking about a security professional, you can't just throw someone in there that was a security officer for 10 years and now you're leading their strategic plan for their security program. It does not work like that. And that's where you get, those type of decisions being made, like, hey, not switching IP cameras or not utilizing the tools on the cameras. And another thing about it is time. Cameras today have so many amazing analytics that you can utilize, line crossing, loitering detection, things that work great for cameras. And then the things that don't work so well in camera analytics, looking for those third-party solutions that help give you that situational awareness so you know what's going around on your property.
So walk me through like day one at Houston first. Obviously, you're getting the lay of the land, you're getting lay of current infrastructure, whether it's VMS, access control, cameras, maybe any kind of emerging technology they're already using. But was there anything like immediate on day one of the job? You're like, we have to flip this, we have to change this. I know budget comes into effect. We'll talk about budget, but is there anything immediate that you saw that we had to change?
The first thing I did is I walked around and I met all the security officers. I walked around, let them know who I was, that, what my background was, make sure that they knew who I was, in order for them to at least that immediate draw, like, wow, this guy cares. He came to see me, what I'm doing. Look at me. He might be watching what I'm doing. So that was the first thing. And I had some comments like, we haven't, I've been here for 6 months. I never met the director of security. And I was like, well, people manage differently. This is my manage. I get into the field. I like to know what you're doing. I like to see your post orders. I like to see how you do your post orders. I'm going to look at how you do your routes and your rows. Like, why did this particular patrol take 2 hours, but days ago you did it in 45 minutes? So where's the incident log if you have some kind of incident or interaction with someone? Because we're data guys, and all of that data from getting on shift to leaving shift for a security officer, those are all points of data for me, and see what I can do with that information. Either I can trend it into a model to I know, hey, our security officers are spending a lot of time at this door. What's wrong with that door? Oh, it's broken. Okay, well, where's the log for that broken door, and why isn't it fixed? And that's just an example. But really understanding the operation from the foot soldiers on up.
You would think, obviously we spoke about this before we kicked this off live. We talk about common sense a lot, and Ron talks about common sense a lot. You would think this would be common sense to really meet and greet your employees or the people that are underneath you, make them feel valued. Because I think when it comes to me and having a holistic, proactive approach. Yeah, you can have all the bells and whistles in the world, but if you have that culture and that mentality in place where people actually give a shit and say something, which has been around for years as well,
Yep.
then your whole security posture, your attrition goes down, retention of employees goes up. So I think that's like common sense. I think level one. I would feel like for any organization. And it's funny you mentioned like you took the time on day one to get to know every single person, which is it reminds me of Josh Anderson. You might know or not know, but he's one of the guys at Cherokee Nation Entertainment in Oklahoma, and he manages 10 casinos in that tribe. And he does the same thing, like the janitorial staff, the operations staff, the marketing staff, HR staff. They all know who Josh is, and he's strictly security and surveillance, But he takes the time to build that culture and that mentality, with the employees that may be outside his responsibility or his jurisdiction. So I like hearing that, Ben. And I go ahead.
And well, think about this. Think about it this way, though. Every person you interact with, right, who you get security on their mind, they're another camera for you. They're not an audible listening device for you. They're another robot walking around for you.
Yeah.
They're another person in your holistic security platform. So really, if you're pinging these people and they're understanding that, hey, you take this seriously, we want to make sure that we're all, if we see something, we say something. You get a lot more data, a lot more information, and you have a lot more eyes looking out for what's the best interest of an organization.
We talk about budget cuts. We talk about funding issues. I know that's probably more common in the education landscape. Schools are definitely under-resourced half the time, and certain states do it better than others when it comes to allocating resources and funding. I know Texas and Florida do it pretty well. But you talk about other verticals, man, or other markets that maybe have access to capital or don't have access to capital. What you just said there makes complete sense, having more eyes on the ground. And that's what a lot of schools do, man, when they don't have funding, is they let their students, kind of be their internal eyes on the ground sometimes. Because when it comes to a fight breaking out or someone posting something on social media that could be threatening, having a student that, has a good relationship with the school resource officer or the safety director, that's a huge value add to your whole security posture. So I guess, Ben, from your perspective, man, we talk about guards. Everyone talks about guards, the Allieds of the world. I know Allied acquired G4S. You've got Securitas. You got some other guard companies there. But there's always a conversation about replacing a body with technology, whether it's AI or something else. Are you supplementing any of that to maybe supplement the cost of a full-time guard or a part-time guard with proactive technology?
I will tell you, I've honestly looked at it, and I think the technology at this stage is still as a support to a human being. I think there are certain places, if you have large vast of land, like for example the robotic dogs, you can put IR, infrared, on the camera on the dog, and it can go 20 minutes and then rest 20 minutes or recharge. But it can cover a lot of ground, and there's little fatigue except for just the recharging of that. I think that's an app that solution is applicable for sure. I looked at robots for the garages. The problem was with the slope in the garages. And to be honest with you, our officers are also ambassadors for the organization. So if someone needs questions and they go up to a robot, I think it's less engaging than if they are actually talking to a human being. So I think there are certain applications for that solution, definitely, even with drones. But when you're talking, if your focus is hospitality and security, I'm going to lean more on that individual that we can cultivate, that can have an interaction with the human being. And the question might not even be security. It's like, hey, I'm looking for a restaurant. It's my first time in Houston. I parked in the garage. What do you suggest? Oh, well, there's a great steak restaurant downstairs. Do I think we'll get there at some point? We probably will. I don't know if you've been following this AI stuff, but it is crazy. I started using some of it myself, and I'm just like, wow.
Well, that's the question though, right, Ben? Is in the gaming space, you talk about virtual reality and AI taking over from the brick and mortar casinos, where if I can sit on my laptop on the couch or have a VR headset on my couch and get my drink and chips or whatever, I can experience the virtual environment of a casino while laid back on the couch. I can bet blackjack, I can do all that, and I don't have to talk to anyone. Or maybe it's because I'm lazy, but to your point, the personalization aspect is huge for a white glove kind of service element because people are still going to spend money whether you like it or not. And I think if you can add that credibility of taking care of someone, the personalization, calling them by their name, or giving them recommendations on food or places to go see in Houston, and that's a huge value add to obviously your employee base, but also the people that choose to spend money at your establishment, right?
Yeah, and then you look at standardization of best practices as well. I mean, when you got to your hotel today, if you had stayed at that hotel before, it probably looked exactly the same, right?
Right.
Your room's laid out exactly the same. Hotels do it great. They have exactly how the room's set up, where the ice bucket is. It's all about convenience and standardization. And when you are building a security program, you have to have standardization of protocols. And then that information not being so high level, but really down to who's doing the work, and they can understand what the expectation is of them, and then you're holding them to that expectation.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, I mean, you look at anywhere you go, especially as a security professional, you immediately judge where you're staying. And I don't know about you, man. Like when I take the wife out to dinner or whatever, I always look for an exit door, just to see, okay, where is my immediate escape route. If I need to escape, not saying I would need to, but just looking at basic, signs as far as situational awareness, I think that comes common sense to you and I, but the average person doesn't really think about that half the time, no matter where you go, right?
Well, I can tell you when we bought our house, I looked at about 5 years of criminal activity in the area to make sure
Exactly.
it was safe.
Rightfully so.
And I had a buddy of mine who moved out to Texas, and he was like, "Oh, this looks like a nice place." And I had just done like a risk assessment of the area. I was like, "No, you don't want to live there. You don't want to live in that part of the state."
That's what I tell everyone moving to Dallas, dude. And I know you're from California originally, but all the new Californians is like, hey, go check out Oak Cliff area, man. It's a safe area to raise a family in Dallas. But I'll be sometimes I'm ruthless, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I will say this about Dallas, man. It's the good people from California coming to Dallas. Leave it at that. So it's not the bad ones.
There you go.
To put it lightly. But you've been a Texan now for years, man. So you're really just a Texan now, not a California.
I have 3 kids. They're all born in Texas, so I mean that's as close as I can get, right? So
you're solidified, yeah, man.
I bought a smoker and a griller, and I got everything, and I got all the things for protection that is probably illegal in California at this point. So I'm good to go.
Hey, man, I'm with you on that. I do want to pause. If everyone has questions for Ben Williams, reminder he's the director of security at Houston First Corporation. Please drop a question or a comment in the chat. I will highlight it on the live screen that you see Ben and I on. So please drop your question, whether it's related on safety and security or maybe just a general question around Houston. I'm sure Ben would love to answer that. My wife's from Houston, Ben. She came from Katy, ISD, obviously, or Cinco Ranch, but my in-laws live in Fulshire, so we always go down to Fulshire every now and then. But I guess Ben, for 2025, man, we're halfway through the year. You've been with Houston First for 3.5 years. 2025 emphasis for you this year, what was it? I mean, I know I want to pivot to one company that I know very well. You know very well, Skyla. I know you have Skyla. Was that a new thing for 2025, or you've been looking at them for a while?
We did a pilot for a bit. We were looking in the market for looking at to enhance our situational awareness with weapons detection. So we had piloted a few companies, and Skyla ended up being the one we went with. And it's just another tool in our arsenal. Like we talk about, we have our security officers who are doing their jobs sitting in the command center, watching cameras. But I can't have a security officer look at all, close to 1,000 cameras that we have, right? There's no way they cover it. So like I was talking about earlier, is like having those individual people supported with technology. With Skyla as an example of that technology that supports the mission. So it gives us quick situational awareness if someone's brandishing a firearm in public areas, and really that helps, and then it helps our mission. How do we resolve that? So identifying an issue, getting the proper resources there, and then going back to normal business operations. Those are three key pillars for our security posture.
Well, you know what comes to my mind, Ben? There's a lot of companies now that I've seen in the industry since I look at different technology companies. A lot of technology companies that are doing threat tracking or threat management or threat detection software, and obviously Scala is one of them. But there's like four other ones that I've seen now that are offering some kind of analytic or solution around weapon detection or fighting breaking out or aggression detection or behavior. And for so long I fought the whole behavior thing, like IC West and some of those main common security shows,
Mhm.
because like naturally, and my daughter has it too, naturally I've got an RBF, a resting bitch face. So if you look at me naturally, you would think I'm pissed off, right? And you would think the analytics is I'm pissed off. But
Sure.
I'm probably happy half the time, but my face says otherwise. And so I never really believed and the whole behavior analytic bullshit because there was so much hype at IC West and you get so much vaporware at those shows anyway. But now I think now that 2025 is here, we see more AI adoption, we see more computer vision adoption. So I think those behavior analytics, those aggression things are becoming smarter, as if not proven, because there's a lot of clients now that are using them. And I just feel like we got over the hump of that hype a little bit back then. But beyond weapon detection, what else analytic wise are you using, Ben? We have a question came in. I'm gonna ask you that question here in a minute. But what other analytics are you using at Houston First?
So, I mean, just across the board throughout my career, looking at loitering detection, weapons detection, gunshot detection, reverse traffic detection, line crossing, people counting, heat maps. I mean, if there's, I mean, pretty much every possible sort of detection that's out there. If there's an applicable use, I probably have it in some shape or fashion on one or two cameras at least. Um, and really, it's not having, like Ron said in his interview, not having the big flashy things. Like I don't need 1,000 cameras with like facial detection. Where do I need it? Well, I need interest points for people who might not be allowed in the building or
Right.
who have been aggressors previously. Just an example. So it's really having someone that's going to take the time to tailor fit that security program for the needs of that organization. And it really takes experience, and it takes having key partnerships to do it as well. I was joking with someone the other day at a client. They're asking like, "What's your relationship with the local police department?" I said 90% of the contacts in my phone are probably local or federal law enforcement.
Which is great.
So it's a good relationship. It really is.
No, that's a force multiplier for you, man. And I'll add to that. Obviously, having the right person with the right credentials, experience, the relationships, but also a leadership team that lets you do your damn job. Because there's been a lot of use cases
Yeah.
and scenarios, man, where you have, CEOs or stakeholders that don't let the director of security or the VP of security, whatever, actually do their job. So it's like it's good to hear that you've got the seat at the table and you're doing that.
No, absolutely. I mean that's key. I mean, since I've been there, there have been a lot of changes made for the security program, and changes that were um, to modernize what was happening and to really. I mean, my goal. I'll be completely honest with you. I want the best damn security program for public spaces and convention centers in the country. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
So I'm very competitive with. I mean, in a good way with other colleagues in my field, but it's like, I don't want to be known as like the sloppy shop. you know, who wants that? I enjoy what I do. It's funny because I got into security kind of oddly. My background was really operational excellence and like doing like Lean Six Sigma type things. So continuous improvement, that kind of stuff. And then I found myself doing more, involving myself in security because people were stealing stuff at the warehouse. And next thing I know, a few years later, I'm now full time doing security and I'm moving to Houston. So it's been a very interesting ride, but it's also taking that ability and being able to think outside the box. Like I'm not law enforcement, I'm not military, so I look at things from a different lens. Which those two professions definitely have their value, but I look at things from a different angle.
Speaking of the different angle, there's a gentleman called Brian Natal. He's the VP of Physical Asset Growth and Operations at Summit Health. And you look at his background. I've had him on an interview series. He manages safety and security, operations, and design and construction. he's got 3 different teams, and it's all reporting to him. And it's really a unicorn. I call him a unicorn in healthcare because you don't really see that too often in healthcare. We've got 3 different jurisdictions all reporting to one individual, but it's because he's done so well a job and communicated with those departments around the actual aesthetics, from design to implementing, security, safety that should be a one-time install, not, rinse and or over again. And then obviously operation, he's been very well doing operations. And it's always funny, man. I since I've worked with so many casinos, or I know so many casinos, when I go to Vegas, I always pick on the casinos that are not doing safety and security well. Not to blame on the end users that are managing those facilities, but you look at like Circus, like how the fuck is Circus still even operating? Because you look at that environment, the Rio. I mean, there's a whole list that can go on.
Hey man, that's a good time to the youth at Circus. Don't knock them too hard, okay?
If you're not scared of clowns, it's a great place to be at, man.
You could get away with a lot back then. Yeah, sure.
First question that came in here, Ben, looking at your background, do you ever take TSCM surveys into consideration for events? That question came from Kaylin.
I am not familiar with that acronym, TSCM.
Neither am I. Someone drop a comment on what that acronym is. I'll bring up the next question though, since we're both done.
So, well, I can answer it somewhat. So, mainly depending on a lot of the DHS surveys. So you have the ISTs survey or the self-survey. And then, going through them with a lot of the resiliency stuff is where we get a lot of our information. In addition to that, going through trainings, whether it's from Texas A&M, their TEAC program, getting the NIMS courses, and then going to security conferences and looking at best practices, and then risk assessments that we do ourselves. So there's a lot of buckets. Technical surveillance, countermeasures. I have not.
There we go. Pin that. Yeah, technical surveillance countermeasures. I haven't heard that either.
I haven't. Generally, if it's looking at the profile, it looks government. So I would probably say maybe from like a dignitary perspective. So if we do have dignitaries like at a building that I've been at, it's working hand in hand with Secret Service or whoever the CID might be, or dignitary protection. And then we've done, in my experience, like digital sandbox type stuff where you go through every room. You go through the entire facility, take pictures, 360 pictures. So your law enforcement teams has a tool to use if they have to go in and handle some business.
It's always funny how many acronyms you see, and I think half the time they come from the feds or the government anyway. So not to knock the Secret Service and anyone else. I've got a lot of Secret Service friends, by the way, so I'm not trying to knock those guys. But sometimes private security, the acronyms are just fluff half the time. So
security does love their acronyms, that's for sure.
That is
sure
for sure. Question from Chadwick here. We have a fellow Houstonian for you, Ben. Houston guy here. 3-part question. What's your favorite part of security management, and what's your least favorite? And the other question is, what's your opinion on how Houston differs than other cities? It's a good question.
I'm gonna answer the third one first because I'm biased. I love Houston. Moving from California out to Houston was a culture shock to me, to say the least. I was so fast paced. Like, why don't I have this yesterday? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, I called you 4 minutes ago and I don't have this information. Like, what are you doing? It took me a while to kind of mellow out a little bit, I would say. But my first 2 weeks, I struggled. I mean, it was like I was complaining to my boss. I was like, I don't understand why these people aren't giving me what I need. Like, what's taking so long? And I probably came off kind of, a jerk or something. Because I was sitting here like, where's this contract? Why don't I have this contract in my hands? I can get like that sometimes still. To be honest with you, I've been out here since 2014. My kids have really mellowed me out a lot. I guess that'll do it to you. So I think Houston, what I've seen in my experience is that Houston, just our collaboration between private, public, security, law enforcement, local and federal, we just click. I mean, we're friends. it comes. I'll just say that we know each other. We don't just call each other if there's a problem. We call each other and say, "Hey, how you doing? You want to go grab lunch? You want to, grab a drink or something? And oh, by the way, I might have this event in a couple months. We can kind of talk through that, but really, I just want to say how you doing." So yeah, and I think my experience with the Astros really helped with that. Being so connected to so many different agencies, because I mean, I'm not. I'll say it. When you're part of a professional sports team, everybody wants to know you.
Of course, they want tickets, bro.
and you can either take that to be defensive and put up walls, or use that to your advantage and bring down walls and bring people in. And that's what I did. And I've made tons of friends. I've had people who leave law enforcement that I still talk to on a weekly basis. So that's going to answer the third question. What is my favorite part of security management? The technology. I could spend all day, literally all day, looking at demos and how different cameras work and how different analytics work. I program the cameras for our CCTV system. I just love it. I love getting in there to see what a camera can do, what it can't do, if there might be a different solution or application for the camera. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had, Taylor, with people say, "Well, I have this product. It's not really going to fit for you, though. It doesn't really work for you." Okay, well, it's only for refineries. And just as an example, and I will tell you, 10 minutes later, I have found an application for their solution. But again, with my experience, I've driven a forklift, I've loaded trucks. I was pulling 53-foot trailers in a yard, moving them and docking them up to a warehouse to offload. So I grew up on a farm, so I have a lot of experience doing a lot of different things.
Can we hit home on that real quick? Because to your
Sure.
point, that's exactly right. Because what I've seen now, been at least in the security industry, is your traditional security companies that grow up in the security industry, they're not innovating as half as fast as the technology companies that are outside the industry. I'm talking about the Metas and the Facebooks and the Googles and the Netflixes of the world. So what we're seeing now, when it comes to new innovation and new technologies, we've seen companies come outside the traditional security industry because they have developers from the big five or whatever big four tech companies, the Googles and the Metas of the world, and they're creating these LLMs, these AI softwares, these things that are far more advanced than your traditional security company would even think of developing, which has been a really, really healthy push for the security industry. Because when I look at new things, I always try to find things that are just unique and different and kind of no one's heard about. And what I've seen now is a lot of companies now are going outside the industry for new things as far as challenges, solutions they're looking to solve, and it's coming from technology companies, not your traditional security company. So I like to hit on that.
VMS systems, how much have they changed over the last 10 years?
You tell me, man. You're running Milestone, and I know Milestone's a big company.
Yeah, I mean, when you compare like a VMS system to camera manufacturers to the analytics AI tools, they're third in the race. And I'm not trying to bash them. It's just that they had a product that worked well. So they're not just VMS systems as a whole. They have a product that works well. So why change? And I hope to see I hope that fever that is caught in the AI world and the camera manufacturers really go into the VMS systems, because and I've worked with several VMS systems, and it's like I can't do this or I can't do that. So like, for example, for Milestone, which is a good product, we went to a third party to optimize Milestone. So we went to like AppTech using their BTX product to be able to go in and to really detail out what our specific needs were into Milestone. And I know there's a market for those companies, and I know what I need isn't the same as what Joe needs down the street. So that's what's facilitated that third party integrator market to be able to get in there and have some space to maneuver. But yeah, I mean, I think the next stage we see is VMS systems taking another look at how they're selling the product, and you get customers that are as needy as me, and I want everything my way, and I want it this way, and I think we'll start to see in the next 3 to 5 years that they're going to have a lot more tools and the ability to really specify things within their systems.
Yeah, and I don't want to knock Milestone. Milestone's been around for years, but to your point, I think there are other platforms now that are VMS platforms that are far more, or at least far more encouraging as far as new things they're doing, innovating a lot faster than what Milestone has done. And I'll give a shout out to Genetech. I think Genetech is the 100-pound gorilla in the industry, and they've done a lot of things very well, and they're continuing to innovate. And what I've seen now, Ben, is a lot of Milestone customers that have been Milestone customers for 5, 10, 20 plus years are now switching the security center with Genetech just because they've innovated. So I'm not trying to push Milestone away from you. I'm not trying to knock down Milestone, but the 100-pound gorilla Genetech has done well. Plus, there's some other VMS companies that I think are worth entertaining. I won't give them plugs yet because I'm not getting paid by any of these companies. I wish I was getting paid by these companies.
None of us getting paid by any of them.
I know, it's like, damn, I give a shout out to you, and I want to get.
And I tell you, I like Milestone. We've really, we're doing everything with them. I think I personally like it. I think it's a great product, but technology and everything's moving and changing fast. So if you're not thinking 10 years ahead now, you're already behind. So yeah, there was a last for that question.
To wrap up this question, from Chadwick, favorite or your least favorite part about security management?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
People.
Well, things. I mean, it's getting harder and harder to. I don't want to put this delicately, or put it delicately at all. People can be a disappointment sometimes. You hire someone, you go through the rigor of training them, giving them tools, and then they just, they don't care. And we saw a lot of that right after COVID, where just people came back and they were happy to be out, but then they were like, "Hey, I want $100 of value for something I paid $2 for." And it's like, well, it doesn't really work like that. Like, you get what you pay for. Yeah. And that's the philosophy I've always had. Like, if you want, and it doesn't matter if it's a security officer, it doesn't matter if it's a person cleaning the toilet, it doesn't matter if it's your regional salesperson. Like, you get what you pay for. And if you have an employee that doesn't feel valued, then I mean, you're hurting yourself, especially if it's a tenured employee that you've had for a long time.
Well, the one thing obviously you can't teach, Ben, is passion. You can't tell them to be passionate about doing their job. I think that comes from within, which you know that. And you're right, man. I think COVID definitely launched a bunch of entrepreneurs and innovators and people that were maybe sick of the office and they wanted to do their own thing. And then it also launched some bad things too about I'll say this, and I don't care. Participation trophy mindset, where they're just expected to be handed things and silver platter things. So, good pros and cons, man, from what we learned with COVID back then.
Yeah, I don't remember getting a participation trophy when I was 5 years old in soccer. We lost. I don't remember that at all.
So I won't name the company, but there was a company I used to work for that would literally hand out like gift cards or, not pizza parties to put it that low, but they would hand out like a gift card if you just brought in created an opportunity, it was a sales job. So if you generated pipeline, and said, okay, Ben Williams, Houston First Corporation, $100,000 pipeline, or that he might spend with this company, you'd get rewarded like a $50 gift card to go to a restaurant. I'm like, what are we rewarding here? You're a salesperson. You're supposed to be doing that anyway, doing your job, cold calling or calling on people. Like, we're rewarding putting data entry into a CRM. So trust me, man, that exists. That exists though on the manufacturer side too. So
yeah, Kaylin has explained a little bit more for the TSCM. I have not done. Well, let me take that back.
Bug sweeps. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me take that back. Yeah. So anytime we've had like a dignitary, we've had the dignitary protection to come in and do those. I myself have not been responsible for those. For dignitaries, executives, I've heard some people do them for some. I in my experience, haven't got to that point to where our executives felt they needed them or, quite frankly, wanted them done. So and that's another thing too that that something like that is probably controlled more towards the C-suite, and it would, if unless they're asking for it, generally they're not always they care or want the cost of doing it in the beginning. So
Good points. Thank you for clarifying that, Kaylin. We got about 15. Oh, another question came in. Just like that, man. Look at you, Mr. Popular. John Jones, in your experience, how have crowds changed over the last 10 years? Are they tougher to handle now? More unruly or in need of more holding from security teams?
Well, I'm glad he asked a nice question, Mr. Jones. I will say that I would say that it's gotten a little better, but in the initial couple of years, immediately after COVID, it was pretty rough. Incident reports went higher. People were less gracious with one another. I think we're starting to see somewhat of a downward trend of that, probably within the last maybe year or so. But I mean, as a society, the security industry, when it comes to crowd control, kind of moves in ways with society and how people are in general treating each other, their political views, what's going on in the country. So it's not as bad as it was immediately after COVID, but we still have a lot of work to do.
Did y'all have been random question? Thank you for the question, John Jones. Did y'all have like weapon detection scanners at the Astros and Minute Maid, like concealed stuff, or no?
Well, I mean, we had, so while I was there, we were still doing the walk-through metal detectors,
like Garrett or something.
Yeah, that. So it was the Chea metal detectors, and we were still divesting every single person that came in.
Yeah.
We had a pretty robust screening system there. Since I've left, they moved more towards the weapon detection systems. So I don't know if they've had any issues. I assume if they did, we would have heard about it.
Right.
But I mean, that's those systems are becoming more popular because of the pass-through rate for individuals. So your standard, I will tell you, I mean, I was cycle timing this like for every game, or we were looking at 5 to 10 seconds to fully screen someone if they came in with a bag through a metal detector. So you're looking at it could be anywhere from 6 to 12 people per minute per detector. And you start doing those numbers and you figure out, okay, if I have a 40,000 person sold out game, how many points do I need for people to come through within a 2-hour period? Because gates, 2-hour gates. These weapon detection systems change the game. I mean, you can get the Chea walkthroughs or revolves, and I think you're doing like 3,000 people an hour or something like that. Or it's some in there. I mean, they've definitely helped out in getting fans to come back to sporting events and not be concerned with long lines.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because obviously weapon detection's been hot, but you mentioned like political poison sometimes on security decisions and security posture, and obviously I don't want to beat a dead horse here. COVID's way over now, but one of the things was obviously contact tracing and fever detection, where these fever cameras came out, and some end users bought fever cameras, and I'm like, dude, we're in Texas when it's freaking 100 degrees outside. Everyone has an elevated temperature when you walk inside the damn room. So like your whole fever detection camera is not really going to make sense,
Well, you use that camera, and what other applications could you have if that camera couldn't do passive weapons detection on somebody?
Yeah,
because you're looking for cold spots.
Yeah.
Garages, open areas. I mean, you take that technology and you just use you find another use case for it. But yeah, I still see temperature scanners when I walk around sometimes.
Yeah, it's just comical, especially here in 2025, man. We got about 10 minutes left here, Ben. There's a question I want to ask you, and I want to encourage our audience, if you have a question for Ben, please drop it now. We got about 10 minutes left, but I introduced you to a company a couple weeks ago, man, called Swear, another company that comes outside the security industry. We talk about the digital evidence, the deep fake technology that happens mainly on the cybersecurity side, but we talk about, you've got kids, I've got kids. My biggest concern is someone pretending I'm Taylor May, or someone I'm pretending I'm Ben Williams to take advantage of your children, whether it's proprietary information like financial information, but maybe it's to cause them harm. But there's a technology now, man, that helps solve that issue with deep fake technology. So that was a company that I thought was really cool for you to check out, just because again it came outside the industry. Plus, you looking at ahead, everything's being online anyway, social media, TikTok, YouTube, etc. Being able to authenticate content, authenticate video, your voice, audio, etc. That's huge. We should have that everywhere, in my opinion.
Yeah, the deep fake technology for targeting the C-suite is becoming a big problem very quick.
Yeah.
Where you can produce a deep fake and do a face call time with someone, and you swear you're looking at the CEO, and he's telling you to put $1 million in this account, and you can't tell the difference. So I think a technology like Swear, I was impressed. I was impressed on how, I didn't expect for that technology to be so quickly created, that solution with the deep fakes and how quickly that they've been popping up.
Well, it took 7 years for Jason, the CEO, to make that company, but he saw it.
Right. But he saw the need for it 7 years ago.
Yeah, he saw it way long ago, like almost a decade ago. He saw the issue,
So
and he's
who
like,
was thinking about those deep fake? I mean, think about it. A deep fake to me when I was younger was like, had to be done, was like nearly impossible to do. And that's what I was telling Jason. I said, like, you were talking about, I got, like them trying to fake the moon landing or something like that. I mean, that's the deep fake stuff I'm talking about, right?
yeah,
It's like, but yeah, I was actually, it's funny because Jason and I probably stayed on the call another 45 minutes after it was supposed to end.
good.
And just we're just talking through things. I was very impressed with that technology, definitely.
Well, I mean, you talk about AI, we talk about computer vision a lot, and the weaponization of computer vision and AI. You need technology like Swear to help authenticate that and help validate that, because you don't know. It can happen on the cyber side, it can happen on the physical side. And I think Jason was smart enough to develop the technology 10 years ago, and now he's almost GA, ready to launch it. Actually, you can test out the technology on your iPhone or Android. You can just download the Swear app and test it for free right now. But for commercial applications and video and audio and everything that's being stored, especially on Milestone, being able to authenticate pixel by pixel, frame by frame, metadata in seconds, I mean, near like milliseconds. I mean, you get that kind of reassurance with Swear, which is really, really cool. Especially you talk about your relationship with law enforcement, Ben, and federal agents, being able to, if you have to share data or share video, that can be authenticated now by Swear, so they know they're actually getting legitimate footage.
Well, what I told Jason, I said, Jason, when you're talking about surveillance footage, I mean, you're talking about grains of sand on the beach, because with this deep fake stuff, I mean, you got the right technology. You can make a Marvel movie from your computer and then sell it, right?
Yeah.
So even having the ability to data stamp all media, movies, whatever it is going to be needed. It's going to be needed, because if Joe's selling these Marvel movies on the corner, like, I think that would piss Marvel off, right?
It's like when people used to rip off like Louis Vuitton bags, they would have these, like, copycats. Like, you need something authenticate. Like, this is not legit, So
yeah,
I told Jason he needs a partner with TikTok or something, man, because there's so much deep fake shit on TikTok and all the AI videos that come out of that. But
well, don't do it yet. Some of them are funny. Well, not on TikTok, but on Instagram, some of them are funny. Like,
yeah, they are, man. We got about 5 minutes here, guys and girls. If you have a question for Ben, please drop it in the chat. The last question I'll ask you, Ben, I know you're gonna enjoy some deep dish pizza here pretty quickly in Chicago. I'm jealous, man. But the last question I'll ask you, I guess it kind of relates to Chadwick's question earlier. Is there anything that you've done so far at Houston First that you feel like has been your proudest achievement so far with the company? Like you've done this initiative, you solved this challenge, like you're super, super proud about that. I like to hear that answer.
I think designing the command center, and I think how we designed it, how it reflects how our security officers need to operate. I have in the command center, I have 3 desks, or it's like a kind of like a CU shape. Uh, but we have our boards with all our presets for our smart board, our smart walls, to where security officers can flip through first floor, third floor, outside settings quickly if they get a call. Hey, there's a vagrant, outside or whatnot. But then we have our oh crap wall. So the oh crap wall is running all of our analytics, and the only time they need to look at that wall is if there's something on it. So if we have a loitering detection, it's going to be on that wall. And then what it does is the system prompts them what to do. So really talking about that standardization in the command center. How simple can I make someone's job to where it's 99.9%, success, right? They not only did they get training, but when there's an alert, they have a prompt what exactly to do. 6 steps. Is it what it is, or isn't it? Is it false? If it's a real thing, this is what you do. Call the police, call the person, do this. So really bringing the standardization to a lot of that. I really like our command center. I think it's beautiful. Can't wait for the new building to see how we do that one. Maybe do some lessons learned or whatnot. And we've changed it a few times since we created it, to make it more intuitive, to make it not only more usable by our security officers, but also a showcase that we can have our clients come in and take a look at it. We can explain to them what we're doing for security, how we do it, and what value that brings to their event being hosted in Houston.
I've seen a lot of SOCs, man. I've seen a lot of command centers. Haven't seen yours yet, so now I need to make a trip from Dallas to Houston to check it out, and I want to see what you've done. And you had a command center before you got there, but what did you do? Like innovate it or make it bigger? Or
it was in the back of the hall with 6 screens, and it was just dark, and this whole idea of, hey, let's have security in the back hidden. It's like, I don't want to be hidden. I want you to know about security as soon as you walk in the building. That gives you comfort. So we moved it from there and we put it on the 2nd floor. So the public can actually walk up to the door and knock on the door if they want.
Nice.
You walk by, you're like, oh, Secure Operations Center. Oh, it's right by Starbucks. Oh.
I've not seen that too often, man. You make it more inviting that way. I like that.
I want our clients, I want it to be something that helps support our brand and helps support the mission of, what are we trying to do as an organization? Well, we're trying to bring value to the city. Okay, how do we do that? Well, my portion is I want to make people feel a little bit safer coming to the city and when they're in our buildings.
I like that, man. And so now I really have to go check it out, because if you have it that open and that ease of use, that's gonna be that's cool, man. Another one that reminds me of though, Ben, is if you ever go to Vegas, text me, because I want to make sure you go do a tour at Resorts World Las Vegas. Beautiful casino, but they have a very impressive SOC. Zach, the director over there, is a really good friend. And you should see his SOC. It's like I call it like the Super Bowl room of a SOC, because he's got all the money in the world. He's running Milestone too, by the way. He's got Milestone House, but he's got 10,000 plus cameras and all the bells and whistles you can think of, man. So yeah, you probably don't envy his job. I'll tell you that.
I like the camera, so
yeah. If more people want to get more involved with you, Ben, what's the best place to do that, my friend?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on there. Just shoot me a note, Ben Williams. It's spelled how it sounds. And I'm sure you have a link or something that you can put on this video too, Tyler, can't you?
Yeah. Well, this live interview will be recorded on the on SVIP, the website. You guys can scan that QR code. Make sure you subscribe to the SVIP. I'll put that plug in there. Yeah, it's been fun, man. I appreciate you spending some time with me the last hour, and hope you enjoyed the conversation, my friend.
Likewise, and hey, maybe next time we do it live from GRB.
Yeah, dude, no, let's do it. I'll bring the podcast set up and everything, man. We'll set it right up.
Sounds good.
Well, guys and girls, that was Ben Williams, Director of Security for Houston First Corporation. If you're not connected with him on LinkedIn yet, make sure to send him a connection request. Bring your best sales pitch if you're a vendor. We'd love to hear Ben just absolutely destroy you on a demo. I'll be a fly on the wall for that. Hey, I don't hold back, man, to vendors, man. Like, and I said this before. You might have heard it, Ben. Just last thing I'll say about the whole vendor to end user relationship. I'm like, as an end user, the first question you should ask Ben is, where do you suck to that vendor, or where's the fault? Because then you'll get hopefully a truthful answer, right? So I'll get off my soapbox.
We can go on another hour about that.
I know. Guys and girls, thank you again for joining. Please check out Wavelinks. They are sponsoring this episode. Shout out to Wavelinks for sponsoring. Subscribe to SVIP if you're not, and make sure to come back next week as we sit down with Jason Davies. He's the vice president at CLEAR, which is the Coalition of Law Enforcement and Retail. Great guy to know in the retail asset protection ORC space. But you guys stay safe out there, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
All right. Thank you.